Okay, here's my review on the 1969 New York Mets. I'm going to do this video in a similar fashion to the way I did a recent video on the 1980 Houston Astros, where I just go ahead and show you the almost the full lineup, the top six in the order all at once, because the 1969 Mets did a number of platoons in their lineup. So, just for speed and efficiency, let's first take a look at the Mets lineup against left-handed pitching. At the top, you had Buddy Harrelson at short, Tommy Agee in center, Cleon Jones in left, Clendenon at first, Swoboda in right, and Ed Charles hitting six at third base. So you see all of their on base chance numbers right there. Cleon Jones was really the obviously the centerpiece to this 1969 Mets lineup. And now let me go ahead and show you the runner advance hits against left-handed pitching for Jones, Clendenon, Swoboda, and Charles. So you see, you get terrific production out of Cleon Jones. He was your everyday left fielder batting third in the Mets lineup, according to the Strat-O-Matic book that comes out with the Diamond Gem set. So all in all, the numbers look pretty decent against left-handed pitching. I just wish Bud Harrelson's numbers were a little bit better at getting on base against left-handed pitching. Now let's move over and let's take a look at the lineup against right-handed pitching. We got Tommy Agee leading off in center, Ken Boswell at second, Cleon Jones still batting third, of course. Art Shamsky is in right field batting cleanup. Wayne Garrett is hitting fifth at third base. Ed Kranepool hits sixth playing first base. So let me go ahead and show you their on base chance numbers right there. So you see these numbers are basically about the same as what you had against left-handed pitching. But what I like about this lineup a little bit better is you've got better chances of reaching base with Tommy Agee against a righty than if you're facing a lefty and you have um, Bud Harrelson leading off. Now, let me go ahead and show you the runner advance hits for Cleon Jones, Art Shamsky, Wayne Garrett, and Ed Kranepool. So you see the numbers are, they're a little bit down. Cleon Jones in left field, that is the centerpiece of your lineup. You get pretty consistent production throughout the lineup when it comes to at least getting on base. And at best, what I would say are just average runner advance hit numbers out of your four, five, and six guys. Let me go ahead and show you the numbers, however, for the everyday catcher, the number eight hitter, Jerry Grody. And you can see you get really, really nice numbers getting on base from your number eight hitter. So this is where I would actually drop a suggestion, and I would even use Grody as either your leadoff guy or even hit him second against lefties and move Bud Harrelson down in the lineup, or maybe have Grody hit second against lefties and righties and maybe extend your top of the order a little bit right there. All in all, the 1969 Met offense comes out a little bit better than I think people would assume. It's almost a feeling the legacy of the 1969 Mets was Seaver, Kuzman, Gentry, and everyone else. But it's not a bad lineup. There are some things you could do with the 1969 Mets lineup to, if you move the lineup around a little bit, you could get a little bit more production out of your leadoff spot against left-handed pitching, and then basically take it from there. Just remembering Cleon Jones in left field, that is by far and away your best card when it comes to the 1969 Mets offense. So I grade the 1969 Mets offense at a good score of a 3.5 out of 5. And I gave them a very, very good score for the righty lefty mix and depth in the order. And a lot of that is due to the really nice numbers that you get out of your eight hitter, your everyday catcher, Jerry Grody. So very nice numbers out of that. And overall, the 1969 Mets offense grades out at a good score of a 3.5 out of 5. Now let's take a look at the defense. Let's get started up the middle. You have Bud Harrelson at short every day, and you had a platoon at second base with Al Weiss and Ken Boswell. So you see those defensive ratings right there. Let's take a look at the outfield. These are your four outfielders who basically would play every day. Cleon Jones every day in left. Tommy Agee every day in center, with your platoon with Swoboda and Shamsky in right. So you could see never crazy about having a four in the outfield. That's what you have when Shamsky plays. When you have Swoboda playing in right against left-handed pitching, the defense is really nothing to really complain about. Even though you do have a three in right with Swoboda, you're very good in center field and left. So the outfield defense checks out pretty good. Now let's take a look at the corners. Here are your four guys who platoon at those two positions. You got Cranepool and Clendenin at first, and you've got Garrett and Charles at third. You're really solid with Garrett at third, a 2 and an E20. You really can't complain about at third base. That is really nice. Charles at third base is just okay. I don't mind the 3 at all. The E27 is, however, that's just a little bit high. I've said before, I don't like going above an E24 at third. And your first base defense is not very good at all. You got Cranepool at first, who has a double-digit E rating. Not crazy about that. And Clendenin's E rating is just off the charts with a E23. So the 1969 Mets do not grade out that great defensively. They come out just a little bit above average at a 3 out of 5. I kind of had to hit them over the head a little bit with the E rating score. So that's the Mets score for their overall defense, 3 out of 5. Okay, let's move on to the starting rotation now. Let me show you the numbers for the top four. Obviously, Seaver, Gentry, Kuzman, and Don Cardwell. Going to show you all of their on-base chance numbers right now. This starting rotation checks out very, very well. And I know I'm not breaking any new ground here with anyone that remembers the 1969 Mets. The only thing that I would say about these four cards is Don Cardwell's card does have a little bit of power on his card against both sides of the plate, and that could be a little bit of an issue. Just to give you an idea, the home run effects in Shea Stadium for 1969, according to the Strat-O-Matic book, on a D20, it's a home run 1 through 9 for both lefties and righties. So that could be a little bit of an issue if you got Cardwell on the mound and he's pitching the game. But you just don't see much better numbers than this, specifically out of Seaver, Kuzman, and Gentry. Kind of similar to the video I did recently on the 1970 Orioles, where you essentially had three aces with Cuellar, Palmer, and McNally. You got the same thing here with the 1969 Mets. However, I'm giving the Mets a perfect 5 out of 5 score for their starting rotation because Seaver's card is way better than anything that the 1970 Orioles had on their card with their ace. Because anyone who remembers that video, I only gave Cuellar a 4 out of 5. So that's my grade on the 1969 Mets starting rotation. They get a perfect score of a 5 out of 5. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the bullpen. Let me show you the numbers first for Tug McGraw. You see pretty solid numbers out of McGraw. I wish he had 1 or 2 less on base chances on his card against both lefties and righties. So when you get around 9, that's a little bit too high for my liking. Now let me go ahead and show you the numbers when it comes to the bullpen depth. You could use Nolan Ryan out of bullpen. You also have Ron Taylor in the pen. And you also have Jack DeLauro, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly. My apologies if I'm not. So let me go ahead and show you the numbers that we get out of them. You get really nice numbers out of DeLauro, who's a lefty, very effective at getting left-handed hitters out, and I always do like to see that when it when you're breaking down bullpens. That's always a nice option to have out of the bullpen. And Nolan Ryan, he does have a number of walks on his card, especially against left-handed hitters. However, he comes out of the bullpen and he's a strikeout machine. And you've got Ron Taylor, who actually had 13 saves in 1969. That's actually one more than Tug McGraw. You see, you get good numbers out of him when it comes to getting on base. So I have no issues with the Mets bullpen depth. I gave them a perfect score of a 5 out of 5 because you've got three real quality arms coming out of that bullpen. So if we're to peel everything back and look at the 1969 Mets as a whole, you're going to see that they grade out with a very, very good score of a 4 out of 5. And that is a 4 on the nose, by the way. It turned out to be 4.00 as they graded out a 3.5 offensively, gave them a 3 out of 5 for defense, 5 out of 5 starting rotation, and a 4.5 out of 5 for the bullpen. And this is another one of those cases where this 69 Mets team can actually play a little bit better than the actual rating that I gave them, because remember the 69 Mets had some issues with some E ratings in the field. However, that is dependent upon who in particular is playing that day. For example, like I spoke on before, when you have Don Clendenin at first base, he's an E23, which is just not good at all. So it does rely heavily on the lineup that you play, the pitcher that you're facing, but the staples of the 1969 Mets. You've got some guys who are good at getting on base at the top of the order. For example, Tommy Agee has nice numbers in the top of the order. The staple in your lineup is left fielder Cleon Jones, who hits third every day. And you get decent enough production out of everyone else. Everyone's card basically serves a purpose. And the obvious staple, 1969 Mets, Seaver, Gentry, Kuzman. That is very, very hard to beat in a best of 5 or a best of 7. And you're good enough in the bullpen. It's a very good bullpen. I gave Tug McGraw a 4 out of 5 for his closer card, and I gave the bullpen depth a perfect score of a 5 out of 5. So the 1969 Mets grade out at a very good score of a 4 out of 5. So that's my video on the 1969 Miracle Mets. I thank you all for watching, and my next video will be on the 1961 New York Yankees. Have a good day, everyone.